Good morning and welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration, here to inspire, enlighten, and build up humanity. And that humanity is you, my 1,387 subscribers. Share this with your friends if you think it might be of value to them. I was reading a post by Mark Davis. He's over in the Ukraine, or he may be there now, but he may be in Thailand. I'm not real sure where he's at, but he's been over there helping the orphans. And we were talking in the post about going with the flow of life, rowing downstream instead of rowing against the stream. But we will get to that right after this message. But like and subscribe, because we are sure to have things in the future that will be of value to you that I have been so fortunate to have learned in my almost 62 years of life that I want to share with you for your benefit. Right after this. You have to be strong enough to endure these things. You have to approach women. With today's social media, she's constantly being hit on. Women are always in the game. You have to stay focused. We are men. That's what we do. All right, what do I mean by going with the flow? Some people would say going with God's will instead of your own. In our lives, most of us are taught to go out and get what we want, to make it happen. Well, surely we have to take action to make things happen. Not always, but most of the time. Action is part of being a human being. But remember, we are a human being, not a human doing. The reality is we are a little of both. First we be, and we must be before we can do or have. Whatever you desire in life, you must have the consciousness of the person who is able to have something like that before you can make it come into your life, allow it come into your life, or take the action to bring it into your life. However you care to view that. But first, you have to have a plan. A plan is good, or at least an idea of where you want to go. Because we talk about these forces, divinity, God, the universe, nature, higher self, higher mind, superconscious mind, God, Allah, Yahweh. There are as many names for God as there are people. Well, maybe not that many, but a lot. Everybody's conception of God is different. For example, if you knew my father, you would have your idea of what my father was like. And it would be very different from what my idea of my father was like. And it would be very different from the man at the gas station who used to pump his gas, what his idea or conception of my father was like. Same father, same person, same Claude Edward Daniels, but everyone sees him as a different person. It's similar to our higher power, God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus. We all have a conception of what we think they are like. Or it is like, if you like. I was having a conversation with my Spanish teacher, and a lot of the Bible is written, Latin was here before Spanish was, I think. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. And they use the pronoun él for it. Okay, that's their neutral pronoun also. So when they talk about him, we could very well say it, because the English language translated is different from the Spanish, and of course the Latin. But I don't want to get off on that rabbit trail. I'm here to talk about going with the flow of life. Let's just say you believe in life. I know many people have turned against the word God because of religion. I'm not a religious person. I don't adhere to any type of religion. I have my own conception, or maybe I'll say misconception of what this power is. I don't understand it. I just know that when I make a plan and I set off in that direction, I have to be open for leading, for guidance from something, because everything I plan is subject to change. What do I mean by that? One of the guys that works for me, he's kind of on a spiritual metaphysical path also. And we have the day planned out and things start going differently from what I planned. And I'll say, hey, look what? God's not cooperating again. I'm going to have to talk with that guy. But actually he is cooperating, or it is cooperating with me. I just can't see the big picture. And that's what we do so many times. We make a plan and it doesn't go according to plan. But the reality is it's going exactly how it is supposed to go for your good and to lead you to your desired goal, end, or vision. But because we want to use our intellect, because we are taught very early from school and even when we're in the home to use our intellect to figure everything out. But there are so many variables in the present, in the future, that we cannot see. We are judging with our 5 senses. Very limited view. But there's a part of us that can see everything and knows the exact way to get to where you want to go. And if not there, to somewhere better. We have to trust that when things seemingly go haywire. And realize that I don't understand this. I don't know why this is happening. This doesn't seem to be leading me towards the desires of my heart, but I'm going to trust that it is and do the next right thing. The next thing that is in front of me to be done. I wouldn't sit here today and tell you that 5 years ago, I knew I was going to be doing a YouTube channel. I would have told you, no, I won't be doing that. I know nothing about YouTube. When I started this, I didn't know what a hashtag was, a thumbnail. I'm learning every day. There's something I don't know anything about. I'm doing podcasts now. I'm on other people's podcasts. Do a shout out to Thor. Check him out tonight, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. He has the Dragon Ship, where a lot of us get on there and we discuss certain topics of interest. So these things I had no idea I would be doing. I didn't set them out in my plan. I have a plan, I have a goal. Less than 1% of the population has written goals. So that tells me that about 1% or less, or maybe a little more, has any idea where they're going. And how can you be led by life, by a higher power, by God if you like, if you aren't moving in some kind of a direction? A general leads his troops to victory, or maybe failure, but to victory. He knows where he's going. He has an end goal in mind. And even though the opposition comes up, he continues to advance forward. He may get knocked back, he may lose a bunch of men, but he continues to press forward, if at all possible. And if he can't and he has to retreat, he goes back, replans, and tries again with a different approach. And so you should do the same. You have your plan to your end goal. You press forward. Now, if you're starting to step on people's toes, or you're getting angry, frustrated, if your emotions are really getting involved, you need to back off, relax, and be quiet for a while. And think about what the next right thing is to do. Don't force your will on anything or anyone in respects to physically trying to make something happen. But take a step back, review your plan, and visualize the end goal that you want to achieve. And the answer will come to you of what is the next right thing to do. Don't stop and think, well, what am I going to do after that? You don't need to know what you need to do after that. Just do what you know is the next right thing. Take the next step in the direction. It may be to back off from physical activity and relax. It may be to read a book. It may be to make a phone call. It may not be to advance in that direction at the moment, but to step back and learn something, to realize something about yourself. It may be you need some more character building or integrity or growth before you can proceed and move ahead to where you want to go. I know many of us have seen people that seem to be overnight successes. Very few are. But those who have risen too quickly to the top have a tendency to crash down also, because they did not precede this success with a growth in consciousness. It's like they say, if you inherit $1 million, you better become a millionaire. What do they mean by that? If you don't have the ability, the mental ability, the consciousness of a millionaire, that money will soon be gone. That's why sometimes it takes years to progress, to achieve your desires and where you want to go, because you don't have the character or the consciousness to be able to handle the success yet. It's going to take some trials, some tribulations, some failures, some disappointments. I was also talking to another gentleman on a site. We were conversing back and forth, and he was talking about how he had tried everything. Anyway, he had an extremely negative worldview. I was trying to help him to get him to see the positive, but he always came back with the negative. I don't know if this gentleman could be helped or not, because I don't know if he's ready to be helped. I would like to help him, but I can't do his push-ups for him. I can't change his negative attitude. If you continue to focus on all the negatives in the world, and it's easy to do because they're always put in front of your face on a daily basis. Let's look at this past crisis situation we had for the last few years that kept everybody in their homes. Not everybody, I wasn't in my home, but a lot of people. It kept so many people afraid. Let's take a look at that. People were controlled by that. The fear of that hindered them. They weren't able to move ahead because of the fear. I lost my original where I was going with that, so I'm just going to go with this. Okay? These things control us. We can't be led if we're wallowing in fear. Fear is not a bad. We are only born with two fears, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. And what happened in the last 2 or 3 years had nothing to do with either one of those. So where do these fears come from? They are learned. And in this case, from what I saw, they were programmed into people through social media, news media, billboards, advertisements, everywhere I looked. They were impressing this upon you to be afraid of this, to be careful, to take action. And I'm all for taking action. But I'm also all for being logical and rational and thinking for myself. In my case, I did not know anyone who passed away from this previous crisis. I'll call it that, because I'm still unsure what I could say about it on YouTube or not. And I would have to ask you, do you know anybody who... Now, I was told a couple people passed away from it. One of them was 97 years old, and the other one was younger than me, but he had wasted his health with drugs and alcohol, and he was in very bad shape, living in a nursing home. But I don't even know for sure if they did, because I was just told that. Well, then what do you say? What are you saying, Mark? You're saying it was all a big hoax? No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I don't know personally, because I'm not a scientist. I'm not a virologist, if that's such a thing. I don't know. So, do you know? No, I only know what I was told. And I know the agenda of the people that was telling it, for one, was to get more people to watch the news. And the other agendas, I'm not quite sure what they were. But there must have been something, because they made a big push for it. And I don't believe it was for my health and welfare. Okay, I really don't believe that. I would like to think that in a perfect world that was what it was for, but I don't believe that's the case. But hey, I could be wrong. So actually, but I seen a lot of people, or I knew a lot of people personally around here that were told that they had contracted the do I say? The flu. I'll call it that. They made it just fine. But in reality, I don't know if they had it either. I just know that they were told that they did. And once again, I didn't know how to check them, if I could have, to see if it was true or not. So, what am I going to judge by? Am I going to make my decisions by what I'm told? By people I don't trust? If you would have asked someone before all this happened if you trusted the government, 99.9% of the people would say no. But yet, they were flocking and ready just to do whatever they were told because they had so much fear instilled in them from the news media, social media, everywhere you looked, that they were willing to just abandon everything to do what they're told to stay safe from something they don't really know if it even existed. I believe there was something going around. I'm not saying that I think, but that again, I honestly don't know. I really don't know. Or if it was just part of life. I think it is just part of life. But it was used for something else. Not quite sure what that is yet, but time will tell. I've lived long enough to know that you can't get too worked up about what you're shown on the news or believe everything you hear and really everything you see. Because you really only see what you believe. You don't believe what you see. You see what you believe. Think about that. You see what you believe. You see what you believe. Yeah, it confuses me sometimes, but that's something to think about. I've learned to program myself with what I want, with my agenda, instead of allowing news media, social media to program me with their agenda. How do you do that? Shut that shit off, man. Listen to what you want to listen to. Something that is going to move you toward what you desire in life, the fulfillment and happiness that you deserve, that you want. Why not? Why do you want someone else's agenda in you? Buy this and you'll feel good. Eat this, you'll feel good. Drink this, you'll feel good. And on it goes. 2, line their pockets with more money. Hey, and I don't blame them. It works. It works. They want people to buy their products. And they've spent probably who knows how many millions of dollars on psychological studies and profiling, so they know just what to do to get you to buy their products. And you think the government doesn't know that if they can instill fear in you, they can more control you easier? Of course they do. It's been going on since the beginning of time. This that happened recently is nothing new. These things have happened before in different countries, in our country. But sometimes we don't study history enough to realize it. They told me in school that we're going to study history so we won't repeat it. I think we're repeating history right now. The morals of the United States are dropping rapidly. And what happens to countries when their morals decline rapidly? Well, that's the beginning of the end of the country. Sad to say. But that's what happens. People change and can become different, but human nature really doesn't change. As a society, we continue to do the same things over and over again and expect different results. That's insanity. We're still killing people the same way we were thousands of years ago. Wars over God, over religion, over land, money, everything. Political power, power is a drug. All these things we fought over thousands of years ago. We're still fighting over them today. We've just developed different ways to mass murder people. That's just the human condition. It's part of life. Is the world a terrible place because of that? No, but the news would have you think that. That's one reason I say don't watch the news. You have to look for the good in the world, and it's there, and there's a lot of it. And guess what? The more you focus on the good, it doesn't make the bad go away, but it increases your chance of having a wonderful experience in life and only drawing good things into your life. And isn't that what you want? You have the power to direct your life by changing your thinking. Your thinking has caused your world to be what it is today. Look around you. If you don't like your world and the things in it, change your thinking. Most people don't think about what they're thinking about. They only regurgitate what they've allowed to be put in there by news media, billboards, advertisements, everywhere. It's everywhere. So unless you make a conscious effort to reprogram your mind, you're going to be programmed with someone else's agenda. Anything I tell you, I'm not telling you to believe anything I say. I will say this, try it. If it works for you, continue to use it. If it doesn't, discard it. Because a lot of things that work for me and others won't work for you. There are many different avenues of ways to change your thinking. But I guarantee you, every person who has changed his thinking has changed his life. Your attitude determines your altitude. And we all want to go higher. We all want to be happy and content. We all want to have enough to eat, a good place to sleep, and some of us want more. There's nothing wrong with wanting more. We were made that way. But you need to be grateful and happy for what you have today. And if you're grateful and happy and focus on all the good things that are in your life today, especially if you live in a first world country. I'm sitting here, there's no bars on my windows, nobody's shooting outside. I don't lock my house half the time. I don't worry about those things. And we do have some people that live around me that are probably addicted to crack or meth. They don't bother me. They walk past my house occasionally. I have no problems with those people. I don't worry about them. I'm not focused on all the negativity, thus I don't bring a lot of negativity in my life. If I bring problems in my life, I can look back on my thinking and see how I allowed those thoughts to become dominant. Dominant in my mind. Whatever your dominant thoughts are during the day, you're going to bring that into your life in some form or another. Most people think the same thing over and over every day. And how is that going to change? You can change it. Read books by people or about people who you want to be like, who are successful. Listen to audiobooks. Listen to YouTube speakers. We have more opportunities available today to be mentored by people that we could never meet 50 years ago. And we can listen to the wisdom of those people. And if you're not taking advantage of that, then you better shut the hell up and don't be complaining about how shitty your life is, because you're not doing anything to change it. I cannot help anyone who will not help themselves. I cannot pull you up out of the ditch unless you help yourself. You got to push up with your feet while I'm pulling you on your arms. But you can sure as hell pull me down, and I'm not going to let you pull me down, but I will help you up. Because if I help you, it helps me. Everything I share with you in sincerity, and I do share with sincerity, helps me more than it helps you. So there I am. I'm selfish. Yeah, we're all selfish. Even Mother Teresa was selfish. She wanted to please God. She wanted God's favor, so she helped other people. The greatest successes in the world are the greatest servants in the world. We seem to have a problem with that in the U.S. today. Servitude. We look at it like that's something humiliating. And humble, there's a word that gets a bad rap. Humble yourself and you will be exalted. Now that doesn't mean humble yourself before any man, but humble yourself in your own mind, to your higher self, to your God. And know that you don't have all the answers, but all the answers are there. And they're all within you, and you are connected to that source that can give you the answers you need. But most people don't take time to sit still and be quiet, to shut off that rat trap, that mouse cage in their mind, and find some peace inside themselves. And the answers will come to whatever you want. I help people, and I've been doing it for 30 years. And really, all I have to do is sit there and listen, maybe offer a comment or two, but actively listen, which is an act of love. Many people don't listen, and they come up with the answers themselves. You have the answers within yourself. And somebody's going to knock on my door, so I'm going to go. Take care. If you'd like to get my help personally, marksinspiration.com is my website, and I will talk to you tomorrow.